9 o'clock, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda this morning is approve the minutes of December 9th, 2024 as written. I'll move.
I'll second.
Moved by Knight, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Miscellaneous motions moved to authorize Director Chairman to sign 2 tax abatements in the amount of $249.22. Kind of reviewed them in the email Friday. I'll as well move.
I'll second.
Moved by Knight, seconded by Meeks. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Move to authorize direct the chairman to sign county payroll notice for Gail Johnson, janitorial maintenance custodian, promotion, completion of probation period, job performance, wage classification 20-3 to 20-5, wage from 1805 to 1870, effective 12/16/24.
I'll move.
Second.
Moved by Thompson, seconded by Hugutin. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Next one, move to authorize Director Chairman to sign Coffee County payroll notice for Lori Dunn, court security deputy change from part-time to full-time, wage classification 40-5 to 40-5, from 2342 to 2342, unchanged, effective 12/29/24.
I'll move. I'll second.
Sure.
Next.
Oh. Moved by McCurry, seconded by Meeks. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. I believe that is the end of our miscellaneous motions. We've got Rhonda, housing authority. You're next.
Got some pictures?
Of course. I don't get too excited about demolition, but I am excited about this one. Get it down.
Looks like they've got a bunch of wood on the front porch.
Yeah. This one is 1306 Neo Show, and I don't know how long in my job, but I had so many people ask me, could you get this house down? If you notice, if you're going to the pool, you'll see the blue tarp kind of flying in the, above, trying, yeah.
That one.
Yes.
I move.
I thought you would. This one's going to be done by Randy Graybill, and they are going to keep the little shop in the back, but at least to get the house down, so.
Yeah, you gotta put a building back on this location.
It's going to be vacant for a little while, so I don't know what they'll do, but at least to get it down.
Well, I think once they get cleaned up, it makes it a little easier to sell it.
Yes, yeah. And that's it, the neighbors will be so happy.
Yeah, it's a
I've
major.
I've had every one of them complain to me about it.
I've had for years.
Yep.
I'll second Tom's motion.
Moved by Hugues and seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? Looks like it needs to come down.
Okay.
I just
I'd
don't
buy
know,
there on your way home, man.
I just don't know where all the rats and mice are gonna go after.
There's a trailer right behind it.
Yeah, they might.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion
All
passes.
right, thank you.
Take care.
Oh, that guy with River City that's here every Monday. You're next.
Every Monday. Morning. Continuing on with our MEP rough-in, they're pretty well wrapping up on the second floor. They're still insulating up there. Then working their way down. They're starting on the south half and working to the north. They're gonna start in their, actually just printing some paperwork off. They're hanging, or installing their hangers in the kitchen, the plumbers and the sheet metal guys, working in that big long corridor in between booking and central control. Got a lot going on in that corridor and working their way north. level 2, they have drywall probably a little over 50% installed. They should be pretty well wrapped up, or dang close by the end of the week. And then they're gonna have their finishers start, I believe the conversation at the end of last week was they're gonna come in after Christmas and start taping and finishing drywall up on level 2. We got humidity testers and temperature and everything, just monitoring it. Should be fine, but they gotta have those requirements up there to have that done. We don't want cracks.
Right.
Still working on masonry. They'll top out that last angled wall between pods B and C, and then they'll start on the 2 walls, or they'll do one at a time rather, in the activity room, and then working themselves out of the building. And then after they're out, we're gonna start on the inside. We'll put the wall up on the back side of pod D, the metal wall panels, and start the brick on the outside, start closing it in. But that's, out from the outside looking in, not a lot going on, but it's mainly rough end. Any questions?
Gonna start getting down to the onesie twosie things here before too long. I mean,
It seems like it, a lot going on, but not a lot of changes per se to the visual eye, unless you're looking up.
looking
Right,
at,
right.
But a lot of ductwork coming in, and
if it's raining, you'll drown.
not in the building.
Not in the
Everything's
building.
cooked up. All the roofs are. The roofers will be back this week to finish up. They got everything installed and dried in last week. Those 2 last little roofs, but they'll be wrapped up and finishing the sheet metal, or continuing on sheet metal rather, but getting close on the exterior. In conversations on trying to get the concrete guys back while we have good weather to start on the south side and start working our way around curb and gutter and sidewalks. So hopefully you all will see some stuff going on in the exterior pretty soon. And once that's done, we can finish out our EFS on those 2 sides where we left it high to finish concrete and work our way out. Have a nice dry surface to walk in and not track mud in. It's always a good thing.
Very well.
Perfect. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good week. Take care. Next is Wellness Coordinator Lindsay Byer, but is she gonna come in here?
She didn't say if she was gonna come in here, she just said that they would all be down on the front patio.
So we're gonna meet at 9:10 on the front patio for the Wellness Circuit Ceremony. How are you? You wellness? Better you was, right?
I'm lower than I've been in a while.
That's right. I guess. 2 minutes away.
I can go pop out there and see if they're gathering yet.
See if they're gathering. Stick your head out the window.
I seen some girls carrying tables.
Get her
Well,
some
a lot
jacket.
gathered in the lobby when I came up, so.
Do what, Mark?
They were gathered in the lobby when I came up.
I see.
Quite a few of them anyway.
Sounds like they're ready. So we will, make our way to the Wellness Circuit
They are ready.
Ceremony. This is gonna be outside, isn't it?
I think so, yes.
Probably won't put your jacket on. Or you can stand, go ahead, come on back. Or you can stand down inside. Guess I don't need my glasses on.
Another box.
I don't know. As long as Tom doesn't cut himself.
Well, I freaking, sit down. I caught something over here, I don't know what it was.
Got you open?
Just My skin is so
Do you need a
thick.
Band-Aid?
No. My skin is so freaking thin, it's ridiculous. Between the diabetic meds and getting old. I guess.
She has a thing in there stating when they'll be back, or that they'll be back, and I will just. Oh. Yeah.
What the chances of,
Wants to see if anybody can come early.
yeah, I bet they're not gonna be that early, I imagine. Insurance.
I could see if Heidi could come early.
You might see if she can come early.
Oops, wait, Dave.
No. Who was that you were talking to?
Kent Smith,
Holy smoke.
he's about 95, 96, I'm not sure what his age
I
is.
didn't realize that was Kent.
Kent,
You sound pretty good
He's
for
getting on
you.
quite well for his.
No, when him and Kenny were out at, New Scar at the bank,
Mhm.
we banked with him for several years.
Yeah, I don't know whether he was out there first or in Iola first. I think he was there
I
first.
think he was there first and then I think
And he
he went to
ended
Iowa.
up down in
Yeah.
Iola for 6, 8, 10, not even
Yeah,
10 years.
Yeah, we banked down there for
Kent,
several years until, and then he moved on, and then Kenny came into town.
Heidi only
Kent
needs
was on
15
board there
minutes, she's gonna
co-op
go
for-
see if she can come up and do
2
her
terms.
presentation now.
Kent used to be a pretty heavy man. I mean, he was a big
Well,
man.
he's pretty good sized shoulders on him, so.
Yeah, but he,
We're in, I guess.
Yeah, well, his shoulders ain't near, they don't look like they're near as wide as.
no,
She was gonna get with Wade
Oh, okay,
and then try to come up here soon, so.
okay.
we don't,
We're 30 minutes early now.
Yeah, we're trying to see if Heidi can come up and do her presentation. It's only calling for 15 minutes, but she needs to see if Wade is available.
Yeah, Kenny's one.
When she's not.
And she's better say what Ken is.
no, are we still in Iowa then?
They're here.
Oh,
They live here in Burlington.
okay.
They got their own house.
I sure didn't recognize him.
Him the last 15 years hasn't changed too much. Still owns all farm.
I'm just, it's still.
That his dad.
Yeah.
His Asbury Smith was,
Do what?
his dad was Asbury Smith.
I never knew his dad, I knew Kent, we knew Kent well.
Yeah. Asbury was in the school. He's in the school, or, principal coach out there. That didn't take long.
Mm-mm.
Need a break?
Sure.
Wait on Heidi to get here, maybe?
We got nothing to sign,
Well, we got checks and, we got some vouchers and stuff we can go through. But, I mean, one of them's the pay app for River City, so we haven't discussed that yet.
Right.
I could've swore I seen a check in there.
We can wait, and, yeah, it's up to you, yeah.
Take a break. Take a 10-minute break. Come back at 9:30. Now we can truck along. All right, we got, Zoning and planning, we did a change on the agenda. Zoning and planning administrator Heidi Harris, comprehensive plan, planning consultant contractor. You're up.
So I figured we'd start with the comprehensive plan stuff first, since I listed that first, unless you guys want to do the contract. So I'll just jump in. So, on November 15th was the deadline for our comprehensive plan proposals returned, and I received 4 of them. I've already given them to Wade to review, and also Russ, our planning consultant. And we're still reviewing them right now, and they're available in my office if you guys would like to take a look and see what we have as well. And then, so why I'm here today is to know what we want to do to proceed forward. When do we want to start those interviews that we were talking about to form our team, which was me, Russ, the head of the planning board, one of you county commissioners. Wade decided it'd be better if we just had one because of the quorum situation it could cause if we had 2. And then also Carl as well, if I didn't say him, would be on it too as well. So I want to know how to proceed forward so I can go ahead and start calling the companies and setting those interview times up so we can start hearing them. I know that's going to be next year because the holidays are coming up and all that.
But I think something like that needs to happen for each company to come in and present their, I mean, that's just my feeling on it. And that way we have an understanding of what they have to offer. And I don't know what the pricing is, but that's my feeling on it. So we need to have each one of them. And if anybody has any different ideas, that's fine.
Right.
But that way, that would give the general public, it'd be an open forum, I assume, when they came in.
They would come in and give their pitch. That would be the plan first.
Right.
And then you would take them in executive session, depending
If
upon
we needed to.
Yeah. Who it was, yes.
But anyway, that's my 2 cents.
My question is, have we ever voted, I know that's not the time yet, but we ever voted to spend the money for a comprehensive plan?
I don't believe so. I think we were.
I think it was to investigate a comprehensive plan, but I don't think there's ever been a formal vote to conduct a comprehensive plan for the county or to spend the money to do the comprehensive.
Well, if I understand it right, we didn't know, we didn't have any idea what it was going to cost.
Right.
So until we had an idea of what was presented.
Also, we visited Heidi about contacting but some places that these people had done comprehensive plans for, and asked the respective parties how did they feel about the comprehensive plan. Are they following the comprehensive plan? Was it just high dollar paperwork?
How responsive they were to them during when they first got their services, plus through the life of their project. Wanted to explain their approach, like how they were going to develop our comprehensive plan. They asked if they were happy with their comprehensive plan, if they would use this company again for an update or a brand new comprehensive plan, and then if they still used it and why or why not. So yes, those are the questions, and I did get the answers to all of them right here as well.
So just for a general of the ones that you visited with the other counties in Kansas or maybe even other states, are they following their comprehensive plan, or
yes,
they are?
Yes. Some of them are actually in the process of developing them right now, so they want to use their plan, and so they're on the company with putting things on their plan to be able to utilize that plan better. And then others that are using it, of course, you're going to find things you want to update it already, because that's what happens when you put a big plan in place. You don't think of everything, unfortunately. But yes, they are using it. And one community was actually in another state, and they use it every day, and it's actually bettered their community for using it and having it done. So that was a good plus.
I believe Douglas County and Lynn County both have they've got their comprehensive plans, they're updated, and they've had them for several years.
Douglas has theirs because they were dealing with the solar
Right.
this year, and that was in their plan, how they were gonna handle it.
Right, and I believe Glenn County's the same way, even though they, yes.
I don't think the board ever did take any action, you know, on going ahead and pursuing it. Other than the discussion we had downstairs out here 6-8 weeks ago, you know, we had a brief discussion there on it, but
And I think that'll come at the higher, later down the road when you're interviewing the companies that are coming in for, pitch their sales, to do the comprehensive plan, then the board will have to take a
Right,
stand.
right.
Move forward
But
or
the
stop.
first step was to get, my understanding was the first step to do this was to put it out, get companies to respond, find out what the cost was going to be. You know, just, I had one individual say, well, it's gonna cost $1 million. Well, no, it's not gonna cost $1 million. I know that, because that wouldn't work at all. But the first step was to get the companies to come in, do their bidding and go from there. But
So the question would be, when, do you want me to start that on the 6th, get that going, or when do you want to
Probably sooner
start
the
it?
better.
I think sooner the better. I mean, and I assume that you'd have to space them out. I mean, I don't know how that would
Well,
work.
we have 4 of them. It would just depend how long you want to be here for. I mean, I would give them an hour at a time for the pitch, plus to ask them questions to go in executive session if need be.
And whether they
So-
could come in on that specific day.
Yes, that would be the other thing. I would start calling them today and start lining them out for those. So maybe 2 weeks in a row, do that if you want. On the 6th and then the 13th, finish them out, and then start them at 1 o'clock, so that way I don't interrupt your agenda in the morning. And we do from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. That would be an idea.
Well,
You know, 13th,
If that's okay with you guys.
the second Monday.
Second Monday, the 13th.
I would say anytime after the second.
Okay, so then do
The
the
13th.
13th and the 20th.
You can even do it the day of the 13th.
Okay.
I don't care, because I'm gonna be gone.
Maybe you could set it up,
The 13th and the 21st, because holiday's the 20th of January. I've already looked into that to see where we're at. So.
say that again.
Be the 13th of January and then the 21st of January, because the 20th is holiday.
Okay.
So you can meet on a Tuesday that week instead. So,
I thought, you know, most of our interviews, when we're interviewed, excuse me, individuals, you know, we got 30 minutes set up or 40. This interview, I'm not too sure you'd want to allow at least an hour.
yeah.
And maybe even longer,
Okay.
if you needed to come back and discuss some, because.
Because it would depend on their presentation, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you'd
Because
want,
their presentation, I'd say, is gonna have some length to it.
unless we tell
But you need to
them,
maybe put a time.
yeah, I was gonna say, I would think we'd want them to have a timeline on that, so we're not just hearing their pitch and not being able to ask them any questions.
Right.
So.
And all that'll be an open session.
Yes, the pitch should be
Yes,
all in
yes,
open
yes.
session, that is correct, yes.
I would suggest it at 1 o'clock on the 13th, starting,
Oh, that's, I'm not gonna care. That sounds good.
Okay,
Or if you get an applicant to come in that day.
okay,
Yeah, however it works out, I would say.
okay. Do you just wanna do 1 that day? 1, or do you wanna try to get 2 in? And have hour and a half in, like, time frame?
how many do you have? You got 3.
I've got 3, technically we have 4 in office, but 3 of them are actually comp plan proposals. One of them is not,
So we can do,
so. They were thinking that, they wanted a little longer than an hour, because they were thinking that the pitch shouldn't include the hour time frame with them in case they wanted to ask more questions of the, proposal company,
One at a time.
so.
We can do 2, 1 day, 1 next.
Okay,
I don't
so,
really care.
how,
Okay.
however.
One,
Okay.
it depends on their schedule too. So
Exactly,
You want to
exactly.
set that moment?
I'll be fine.
Okay.
do you want, and so for whichever day I have the 2 on, do you want an hour and a half time slot for the first company, and then have the second company? So that'd be 2:30, we start the next company, or what do you wanna do on that?
We could do it that way.
Okay.
I don't know what it hurt.
Huh?
I don't know what it would hurt.
Okay. Then I'll put the second one at 2:30. So once I get back to the office, I'll start calling them and then I'll put them on the agenda.
I have them on the,
Well, I'll give you the,
yeah, I'll have them on
Probably
the
ought to
calendar just so we don't book it.
perfect.
Yeah.
We probably ought to set it up for a 1 o'clock deal. Just because.
Yes. I agree.
That would be my suggestion.
Yeah. That way,
Okay.
you're not,
Okay,
we're not trying to rush through an agenda
okay.
with,
To try to get to that.
yes, exactly.
So do you wanna do, 3 separate meetings then, so you give them each enough time?
We can do 2 one day and 1 the next,
Okay,
or whatever.
okay. I'll figure out.
It's no more than 2 in one set.
Right, yes, yes.
Cause if you start at 1, then.
Could be 4,
3:30, Yeah, it'd be, yeah,
4 o'clock if you did 2, possibly.
I've got a problem.
Okay. I will, get
At
on
this
that.
point, anyway.
I'll get on that, but feel free to come down to the office and when I'm in to take a look at the proposals so you can see who we have, so. And it does, of course, show the price too. That's what I was gonna ask you about today, so, just we think, okay, so that's our interview committee, so we're thinking about questions you wanna ask them. Is there any other questions you guys have?
Interview committee.
Well, I guess you guys
So
are gonna do it
all
all
of us are-
together, so,
Huh?
sounds like you wanna do it all together?
Well,
Well,
I guess I gotta back up.
yeah. So we had originally talked about it being 1 commissioner, me, Russ, Carl, and then the planning board chairman. That's what you talked about for the interview committee. So it wasn't the
Well, I would
whole,
talk to the planning board chairman and see what they're comfortable with too.
okay,
Maybe they only wanna do 1 at a time, I don't know.
I will ask
Who's
him.
your chairman?
Mike
Mike.
Avendroth.
Mike, for next year?
Yeah, they,
Huh?
he just took his seat in May, and then it goes to April.
April.
Yes, because April's when you would
Huh?
possibly elect
Still
new
give the
people.
pitch in open session.
They've got,
Yes, the pitch will be an open session.
right.
I would just have them individuals here at that time. That's my suggestion. I mean, they can sit back here and listen to it, and there can be discussion afterwards. I mean, I don't know that you need a committee to review these people.
Of course, it's going to be answered that if this thing goes, they'll work closely with the zoning and planning board themselves. I guess my thought was is that they would come in and do their pitch and then from, I don't know.
I don't know what the right way to do that is. I don't understand that. Why wouldn't it be done with this board?
That's just what you guys had discussed with me last time we were talking about it. So if you don't wanna do it like, we can always do it with the whole board, that's fine with me. I just wanna know what direction you wanna go, so. Cause that was the direction I was given last time I spoke with you guys, so.
Okay. So they're gonna come in and do their pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, we would decide,
If you want to ask them further questions or not in an executive session, yes. That's where I feel like you would wanna do that probably.
Then you'd turn around and award the best price, best candidate, and then it would go into a contract.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the alternative voice was like Ryan and I was in here that day, was just from a different perspective, to add to, if we seen something you guys didn't, since we're talking about something maybe a northern tier plan versus a southern tier plan, because of the way the growth, if everything comes through the semiconductor industry, and with SSM thing. That was just the other people was added was for the different perspective, that's all it is.
Well, I don't think there'd be a problem with both of you or all of you being in here at the time of the
Right,
pitch, because you're gonna ask the questions you're gonna wanna ask anyway.
you bet.
Yeah, same as the commission, so, I
Right.
mean, I don't know why they can't, not everybody can be, why they can't be present here that day. And all the commission meet at once and
I put it on the calendar and I'll be here that day too.
I'm not gonna be here, so have at it. I was just helping to suggest.
No, and that's fine. And that, yeah, the commissioners are going to
This was,
make the final decision on it.
Correct, yes.
okay, when you're referring to when we talked about this before, that was at the planning and zoning meeting?
No, we talked about it in open session here when I was finalizing the RFPs to take out for the comprehensive plan. I'd asked you to kind of discuss like your interview committee you wanted to have. You guys had decided you didn't want the whole commission to be on that. But if you're changing your mind and you want the whole commission
Well-
to do it, that's fine with me. I just was under that impression from last time we talked. Prior to, it would have been about August, September, no, it would have been October-ish timeframe when I was getting the RFPs out, when I brought it to you to ask
Okay.
how we wanted to proceed after that was over, so we'd already be planning ahead, so we weren't wasting too much time, since we are on a time clock for the
Exactly.
memorandum.
I don't know what's best, guys.
Any one will work, I mean,
But right now, we're talking about doing it in an open session, correct?
Yes.
Why wouldn't the person do this as we do as a candidate 1, 2, 3, or 4, and do it downstairs? Is that something we need to entertain?
No,
I think
we
want to hear their
need to have this
pitch.
in an open session.
Definitely
so-
open session.
Well, I think we do, just so the general public knows what's going on with, and they can see the presentation from each individual. Then from there, that's when we would,
Dive into questions you would have that may be proprietary information you want to ask of them that wouldn't be public knowledge
Right.
yet.
So the plan would, and I'm sorry that I don't recall that, the plan was to have a committee choose who they wanted?
Who they were going to recommend to you guys to make final approval. The committee would not do the final approval on it. They would go through interviewing all of these companies and then pick the one they felt was the best after the interviews, bring it back to you guys of all the bids and say, this is the one we're recommending, but here's the other 2 companies that we interviewed as well, and here's our thoughts on them. So,
Okay.
it would be a
okay, now
recommendation from them. They wouldn't make the
I
final
understand a little better
decision.
now, thank you.
So.
Yeah. I'm flexible, whatever the best way is to do it.
So it sounds like you guys want to do it, if I can, have them do their pitch, and then you can go in executive session if you need one, to ask further questions of them. So we'll just plan on that.
That sounds good.
that sounds good. But if we needed to, we could also include the board president of the planning.
I was,
That's
Jesse
what-
said it'd be
that's
nice
what
if
my
they were
thought.
here anyway.
I was
Right,
planning to
right.
invite Mike.
Okay.
Yeah,
fine.
I was gonna have
Yeah,
Mike say
that's-
we
that's
need you
my
present.
thought is-
No, that's,
Just will be done at the same
Yes.
time, and it's,
Okay.
clear as mud.
Yep,
yeah.
I got it. I know the marching orders now. I can go to start calling them and getting that set up for you guys.
Okay.
So we'll start January 13th on that. Then the next item, if we're ready to go on, would be Russ's contract renewal. I would like you to please renew his contract. He's been a very valuable asset to us, helping us guide through solar was the big thing, and now he's helping us update our regulations to make them easier to get through and take some things out that are outdated or laws have superseded them now that we need to correct. So if you can take a look at this contract with me, and I would appreciate a motion to approve it for what we'll do next year. And then it would end at the end of next year, so I would come back and ask for another renewal. So that's what this other piece is
Is
today.
he just on part-time basis right now?
As needed.
As
as needed.
needed, yeah. So he's been working mostly on our solar stuff, obviously, because we're working on that. And then now he's diving into our regulations with us and I'm mostly doing the clerical work where he just goes in and verifies other items that we need to change that could be changed. And then also I'm looking at them too and changing things that doesn't fit our county, that he has as his template, so.
What's his rate now for as needed?
150.
150 an hour.
His rate's well, under the contract, it's 150 an hour, but I didn't know if he was charging more now.
That's what I asked.
He's about 20 hours a month right now because of the solar stuff, since we've been using his expertise and he's been,
Is his rate the same?
yes, his hourly rate is the
Yes,
same.
I think that's what I'm trying to get at.
That's what his rate was last year.
Yes,
Okay,
that
And
didn't
he's been a big
change.
asset to you and the staff. Like, he's been a big asset.
Yes,
Oh, I
Yes.
agree.
and to the
Yeah.
board.
And to,
Well,
right,
yes.
right.
Yes. He's a wealth of information, is the best way to describe that. So, very helpful.
Seems well versed, well spoken.
Any changes in this contract versus the
We
one?
changed, the one that Wade did change would be up to 20 hours a month is what we were looking at. Says he,
Maximum of up to 20
yeah,
hours.
maximum
per
to
month.
up to 20 hours a month, so that way if he needed to go to 20,
Okay.
that it wouldn't be a problem since solar was kind of above and beyond the contract because it was regulations, then we thought maybe 20 hours would cover that for next year. Doesn't mean it could be 20, won't mean it's 20 every month, that's.
No, but it could go up to
Yes.
20 hours if
Yes,
needed.
if needed,
Right.
yes.
Well, I'm fine with it.
It's gonna take a lot of special, something like the solar deal where he did spend quite a bit of time, because that was the biggest check.
Yes.
We just said it come due either this month or last month.
Well, and again, if we do any more zoning for the northern part of the county, which I'm not sure,
If that project progresses, there's gonna be some changes that would be nice to have guidance on how to make those changes appropriately without going into too much detail.
sure. I would make that motion to, renew, is that the right word, renew the contract?
Consulting services.
Yes, consulting services.
A second.
Moved by McCurry, seconded by Hugutin to enter into contract with consulting services for up to 20 hours per month at $150 an hour for the next calendar year, correct?
Yes. Till December 31st of 2025.
All in, any other discussion?
He's got a big,
I just copied it from last year.
okay.
Oh, would you like me to read that motion, or is mine not good enough?
Well, I don't know, it's a lot, it's got a lot more detail to
It
it.
just lists the
The nuts and the bolts of it.
consulting
And
firm.
all the details still in there, 20 hours, $150 an hour.
Right, right. I'm good with it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you guys. and-
Sign this original.
Yes, please.
Sign mine.
Thank you guys, appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
I'll be
Heidi.
back in January to.
The insurance ladies are here.
The way he sounded it, they.
Wow. Merry Christmas.
Sorry I didn't dress up in my green suit today.
I'm not sure if that was exciting or
Insurance, our favorite.
Well, funny story, I had one call me 2 weeks ago, none of these, not with this group, but for truck insurance, and I told him, I said, you know, hey, I appreciate you calling, not interested in changing companies this year. Well, why? Because I don't want to. Well, why is that? I said, we've got litigation out there. I said, it's just not gonna do it. He calls me back last week. My fuse got lit really quick.
In other words, what
Oh, I
part,
know.
what part
I
of
laid
the,
into him, I laid into him something fierce. My office was laughing down the hallway. I mean, everybody in the other offices could hear what I was.
The short part of it is what part of no do you not understand?
Yes, that was the short part.
Discrimination is not.
But I gave him the long part first. I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did.
You didn't hang up on you?
No, he didn't. He's
You
lucky
got-
because I
you
would
got
have called
a
him back.
Martin foot.
I would have called him back.
You got a Martin foot.
I'm not done.
I'm not done yet. I would have called him. I might have drove to his location.
You ready for us?
We're ready. Come on,
All
everybody.
right.
Trust Wayne,
Morning.
Angela and Bobby, you're up.
Yes, sir.
How are you ladies today?
Very well.
So from our meeting on November 25th, we went back to both companies and per your request on different line items to get additional quotes, changes, or updates. So we have all of that for you. So instead of us printing out this whole new 3-ring binder, we went over the bullet points, but we can reference what you have in the book. That will help. So, Travelers did come back with some of those items that they didn't have time to get us quotes from the last time, so they brought in some additional pricing on that. So I will address those, and Bobby will as well. The very first line with Travelers on the handout that we gave you, the public entity liability, that's the same as the linebacker. And Jesse, some of your concern was, let's see what we can do on raising some deductibles and how that would potentially help us in premium cost. So we did that. We went to a $10,000 deductible, and Travelers is going to take off, they would deduct the $392. Currently, they had a $5,000 deductible. With EMC, currently have a $2,500 deductible. So to change both of those to a $10,000, you can see the credits that they would be willing to give. So EMC's credit is a lot larger than what Travelers is.
Going up to the $10,000 deductible, only gonna save us $392.
With Travelers. With EMC down on the line below, it would be $2,884.
3,000.
Basically.
Right.
Yeah, right.
3808.
I thought you said 2, I'm sorry.
But that's just on the linebacker deductible.
Right, right,
That's just one deductible.
correct.
But the overall premium is deducted how much?
The $392 for Travelers,
And 3,800
and then, yeah,
Yeah, 28.
$2,884 for the linebacker. So we're going line by line on all of those. So you would add up these credits and/or additions or debits. The next one is the auto deductible, changing it to a $10,000. Currently, both of them were quoting a $5,000 deductible. Now remember, with EMC, it's per occurrence, and the max you pay is 2 deductibles. So if it was a complete hailstorm, currently right now it's a $5,000 deductible, you'd pay $10,000 if all of the vehicles were in a hailstorm. With Travelers, it's per each auto period, no matter what. So with Travelers, changing that to $10,000 would give you the credit of $3,808. With EMC, changing it to $10,000 from the $5,000 would give you a deduction that you could take of $7,177. We did have them do the physical damage was added to the SWAT vehicle, and we have included it in the summary page next, but we can go to that in just a minute. The next line that you requested additional quotes was the cyber, increasing the limit to $1 million. Currently, right now, you have $500,000. It would be an additional charge for Travelers of the $7,528. And then on the cyber with EMC down below, currently you're at 500,000, changing it to the million would be an additional 1,189.
Well, that's a no-brainer.
And lastly is your umbrella, to increase it to a 2 million. Currently you're at $1 million. With Travelers, it's going to be an additional $44.95, and with EMC, it's an additional $36.33. So we wanted to make sure that we were comparing apples to apples, and you'll see the additional line items underneath Travelers where we've put price included below. All of those now have referenced and changed the total amount of premium on the back page.
And some of those corrections, if you recall, when we were here in November, some of that data just wasn't available at the time of presentation. It was information that was still being talked about back and forth. One of them was a primary concern was adding that forgery piece into your crime coverage because that was missing with Travelers option. So adding that in, they do offer it. So it did add that $1,251 annually to the crime. But I also, we wanted to touch on some of the additional updates. So from the time we were here in November, we went back to underwriting, went back to the drawing board, kind of had a little bit more conversation about some of those pain points that we had. The Lebo property was one of them, being actual cash value instead of replacement cost. Travelers did agree to change that to replacement cost, which is great news. In part of that discussion, they also were willing to increase the recycling center back to replacement cost, whereas they were only willing to offer actual cash value before, which is good. Additionally, the drones were a big kind of a gap that we had before with Travelers' figures. The drones have now been added in for the liability as well as the physical damage to the Sheriff's Department drone that we have scheduled, just because of the high value of that. And one of the last pieces that was a significant concern, not only for us, but for you as well, was where we had talked about the additional subsidy entities of Coffee County. The airport, the hospital, the clinic, the schools, the rec center. At the time we were here in November, based on the data we had received, it was our understanding that Travelers would not defend you in the event something were to occur. That was incorrect. Unfortunately, they came back and clarified and said, oh, well, wait a minute. No matter what happens, we're going to defend Coffee County. We're just not going to pick up any of the negligence of those other entities, as was the intent. So part of just the initial data that we had was incorrect. So for that, we did go back to them to make sure that that defense coverage for you sitting at the table and the employees would be there, and it is. So the pricing for those, the reason why we say pricing included below is because there really wasn't a line item specific to those. Those were just some corrections that had taken place. And I believe, Dawn, under the additional liability coverages, you were wanting to see kind of what those pricing breakdowns were for some of those extra built-ins that we have. With EMC, we were able to provide those on a line item basis. With Travelers, just the way that they present or the way that the proposals read, they don't always give us that itemized breakdown because of proprietary data. So that is why you're seeing more of a breakdown on the EMC section than you are on Travelers.
But on EMP, going up to 2 million, you have an increased cost of $3,600.
Yes. Yes. Because that was one of the things that we had talked about, whether it is enough or not with that current $1 million that we have in place.
So you never know exactly how much you do.
That's a very
on liability.
It is a very difficult question.
Never enough.
Yeah.
Back to the increased auto deductible, moving it from 5 deductible to 10. That's on each vehicle wreck or each?
The deductible with Travelers is still 10 on each vehicle. The 3808 is what you would be able to deduct from the total amount of the premium. With EMC, they only charge you in an occurrence, such as a claim, like a hailstorm that gets several vehicles at one time. You only pay max of 2 deductibles. So currently you have a $5,000 deductible. It'd be $10,000 deductible, period. Say 12 police cars got hail damage.
It'd just be one $10,000 deductible.
Right. With Travelers, it would be each individual vehicle. That's a big difference that we want to make sure that we clarify.
On the Traveler, there's no way to go up to the 10, because one wreck's gonna take out.
Yeah.
I mean, you wanna stay with, looks like to me, you wanna stay with the 5,000. Okay.
And with both companies, that was one of the things that we were discussing this morning, is either company, if you were to go from the 5,000 to the 10,000, it's only gonna take one claim to,
That's what I'm looking at, and
Well,
I'm trying,
you know, to-
EMC, take two claims.
Your price difference.
Two claims
correct.
on EMC.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to move it off the top, for the way I look at it.
and right now, that $5,000 deductible does seem to be that sweet spot for you, based on the pricing that you're receiving and the coverage that you're getting. Because if we go to 10, it's not cost effective. It's not budget friendly.
That's what I just figured out, it's only, even adding back 36, 33, you're only like $9,000 difference.
Right.
From the last quote to this quote with the $10,000 deductible.
Yeah.
Which seems,
So sometimes
Way,
when
way
these deductible differences, people say, well, it's not worth it. It would be worth it if you had a lot of claims in that area, because then that wouldn't be reported against a claim history with you against the company. But you guys don't have a lot of auto claims, so it's not cost effective at this time. Our recommendation is not cost effective. Obviously, you make the ultimate call.
Who's all of our insurance with now? With Travelers, or is it?
You're with
it's
EMC.
It's with EMC.
Mm-hmm.
You probably can't answer this question, or maybe there's not a good answer. But you go down through there, you know, one company's 30,000 better on this one, and the next one's 30,000 better. Why the significant difference? They're all insured the same?
A lot of times it's going to be rate. They have to file those with the state.
I'm
So-
sure it's based, I mean, I know it's based on rate.
And then based on what coverages they offer you within that line.
And then
So-
also based on the claims you probably pay.
Correct. Yeah.
Of course, that's what's gonna figure the rate.
Right.
And Jesse, real quick, to your point, you had mentioned about the pricing difference. So on page 2 of your document, on the bottom, the premium summary is based on what we had presented previously with a few adjustments. So on page 1, those itemized, like the deductible, that would be decreased again from the premium summary. So-
right, I did
Right.
that.
Okay.
I took that
Okay.
the total on the back, I subtracted the deductions for the 10,000, and then added the $3,000 back in.
Right.
You're only looking at a $9,000 difference.
Right. And part of that, why that pricing adjustment, you're not seeing quite a true data there, is because they added in the physical damage on the bear unit. That wouldn't have been included in the previous one, or in the previous pricing. So now that bear unit is included in the traveler's pricing, but yes, Jesse, you're correct. The pricing difference just is not as significant as you think it would be.
So on page 2, the premium summary, Travelers did have to do some adjustments, basically, from some of the things that we changed, and we did have them highlighted before on the previous page of what that premium would be. And we put it in there trying to compare as much as we could apples to apples. So you'll see a difference of the total premium for what EMC has quoted and Travelers. But you will see that we did not add in the wind hail buy down from 3% to 10,000. That's an additional significant premium amount.
Which is included in AMC.
Correct? Right now, currently you have 5,000.
Your wind hail deductible with EMC is $5,000 with the exception of 3 locations.
The 2 locations.
The 3 locations are the courthouse, the road and bridge, and the Levo property, because of the value of those being over $1 million. Those properties include a 1% wind hail deductible, which is still much better than the 3% that Travelers is offering with that $250 minimum that Travelers requires.
Right.
So the reason we did that buy down with Travelers is just to give you that visual to make them more equal, because that deductible spread is making it look like there's a significant cost savings, because there is dollar for dollar. But when you look at the deductible portion, they're night and day.
So we're trying to compare, like I said before, apples to apples, so you can get a true comparison of coverages, what you currently have now and versus what Travelers has. We don't want to give you any surprises later on. We'd rather be upfront right now with all the other additional expenses. So those deductibles are huge. It's a big impact on the premium and at the time of loss. So there would be additional cost with travelers, and then the incidental malpractice for the nursing would be an additional cost, and that's already included within EMC.
Sound like me, AMC's gonna be the best pricing, best,
I'm opposed to asking that sort of
Based on recommendations of coverages and your deductibles, EMC is a very strong.
yeah.
That's the way it
Yeah.
I would suggest staying with EMC at the $5,000. Stay as it was last year.
Yep.
What I say.
I mean,
Yeah, with it.
But at least we did some options, came
Right.
back to you, and tried to see what we could get.
Very much appreciate your
Yeah.
efforts on
You
researching
gotta
that.
make a motion on that? Make a motion to move into, or have EMC's, I don't know.
enter into an agreement with, Trust Point for
Right.
2025 insurance.
Got a question on workman's comp before. You know, with EMC, it costed $183 versus Travelers $152.
Maybe your rate that they have per
I
each
know it's
one.
rate, but why is there a 1% rate difference between Travelers and EMC? When they're all interviewing the same claims?
Well, they have to file their rates in the first of the year, typically the first quarter of what they, per each work comp company that they have. So it's not specifically based on your claims, it's the rate that they have filed with the state on each line item of how they charge. Then your claim, so they have that rate, then they have your loss ratios. So that puts you in a certain, insurance companies, many insurance companies have several different work comp carriers. The better your mod rate is, the better classification you go into. The worse your mod rate is,
Remember, our
It
mod
changes.
rate was going higher and higher and higher.
1.25, wasn't it?
Well, we're up at, EMC's got us at 3.24. That makes an increase in cost of $31,000. I didn't realize, I guess, that two companies would have that much variance in the mod rate. I know, I'm talking about my experience at the elevator. I mean, and we never did get above 1% there. We was always 7.7 or 0.8. We was pretty fortunate. But here, since we've had a lot of claims, or more claims than normal, the mod rate before is 1.2 with both of them. Now we got a 1% difference because of some claim issues.
So claim issues are a variable, Dawn, yes, but also carriers rate, like Angela had mentioned. So Travelers, over the last 2 years, they may not have had the substantial claims that EMC did, because when insurance companies go forward, like Angela mentioned, on filing their rates, their actuarius, compile all the data from what they've experienced as a company, and they use that to project going forward. So that is where Travelers is potentially offering better rate, because them as an industry or them as a carrier may not have sustained the claims that EMC has. So part of that can be a variable too. So it's not all, not EMC is not picking on you, or you're not being charged more just because of you and your history. It's just the company overall.
Part of their bid, their capabilities as a company.
Yes.
Is this something workman's comp, say it was 31,000, that we could pull out of EMC and go to Travelers with it?
We would have to ask Travelers if they would do a standalone work comp. You could.
And I don't want to drag it, I don't want to drag this out for a week or two. I mean,
I'm not for that. Yeah, I say it's all or none.
and I can't disagree with you, Tom.
Yeah.
But I think,
The problem I've had with different things, even between my farm policy and my commercial policy, if you've got them with the same place, then there's no bickering over
Right.
whose law this was.
Yeah.
I mean, that might not be in this case, but.
Well, if you had an
I've just
employee that was hurt in an automobile, you're gonna have work comp and you're gonna have the auto.
Right.
You're gonna have two different
Yeah.
companies.
So they could just battle out which line item they want to put it under. It's their problem,
I can,
either way.
I can understand that.
You do have the on-call nurse reporting. I know Travelers has an option of that as well. I think that you guys are really starting to get more and more involved with that on-call reporting with EMC, so that's
All right, we got a motion here to approve the 2025 insurance renewal with Trust Point Insurance of Burlington, Kansas, staying with EMC.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Moved by Huguet and seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for putting up with
Have a
me.
Merry Christmas.
Absolutely, yeah. Yes, next week. Yeah, if you need anything else or have any questions, of course, always reach out. We're happy to come visit at any time.
We'll get the auto IDs out to the clerk's office so those can be distributed.
Okay.
Great, well, work on that enthusiasm too, Jesse.
I'm trying to.
When you see this bookmark, you're gonna see a lot of scratching.
You can look at my book, it doesn't have any scratches in it.
Mine's got quite a few.
I hate insurance, but it's a necessary evil. It's a necessary evil. No.
Gives me a headache.
Got rid of my headache.
Well,
See, Wade to save it out for a conversation, so.
how long is yours, sir?
I'm hoping it's about 5 minutes.
Come on up. Sheriff Tom Johnson, Lake Employment Agreement.
They got 15 minutes set up for you, Tom, so.
Well, it's not gonna take that long, I hope.
Hopefully that's a maximum, not a minimum, right?
No kidding. It's too nice a day to be sitting in here, gentlemen.
You wanna take my place later?
So I've seen it, believe me, and I've got other things to do too, but let's just bite the bullet and move on, come on. So it's that time of year, and 4 years ago, I took over the lake director spot that Sheriff Rogers had before me. And going through my yearly stuff, I'm doing my budget for 2026 already. Trying to look at that, I keep a 4 and 5 year budget every year, and we've been through our stuff. And I see, boy, the 13th I'm going to get sworn in again. Hopefully I'm still alive by the 13th so I can get sworn in for my next four years, thank goodness. Thank the taxpayers and the voters for all that, but that alone is again my contract renewal for the lake. I'm not asking for a dime more than what I'm making. It's just something that we need to do is look at the contract. This is the same contract. I just updated the dates on it. I've spoken to Wade about it. Wade's looked at it and he said now's the time to do it. So for those commissioners that weren't here, 2 of you were not here. The explanation for my duties, I just oversee the lake. I do the hiring, everything else for the lake. I do the budgeting for the lake. Larry Bender is my lake supervisor out there. We sit down every year and go through a budget, what they need. As you know, the commissioners agreed that we need a new boat this year. We did buy a new boat and all the accessories for it. And again, thank you to the taxpayers, to you for doing that. It had to be done. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It had to be done. So all that is done through me. So all I am as the director is a liaison for you between the lake, wildlife, and parks and us. So hopefully, like I said, the lake's still open, it's still running, the fishermen are still coming on a regular basis. Hopefully you've been happy with what I've done. And that being said, it's just time to look at this agreement.
This is a 4-year contract.
As long as I'm sheriff, we do it the first, the day that I'm employed till the end, that way. And again, you can revoke that at any time. This says all you have to do is give me 30 days or 60 days, whatever it is, and you can get rid of me. So this is not all inspiring, it's a contract that says that I get paid whatever it is, $650 a month. That's all it is.
What is it, $550 a month?
$650, I believe.
$650?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I knew it was in that, right? Have you got any large capital items that you're gonna be needing for the next year or two?
No, there is not.
Since you got the boat.
Since we've got this boat, it's pretty much now back to service. Now, we're gonna need a new truck. What I normally do out there is when I get an opportunity to buy a new vehicle for the sheriff's office, I take a vehicle that's still in good shape, got a lot of miles on it, still in good shape, drives good, and I switch that over to the lake. And so luckily, everybody robs Peter to pay Paul during the year in your budget. And I did have some extra money left over this year. Thank goodness that I have somebody in my department that writes grants and is very, very good at writing grants. And I had some money left over because of those grants. And so I bought another vehicle this year that that I can take off my budget for 2025. And with that being said, that vehicle is going to go on the road, I'm going to pull a truck off. I'll get a truck off. And that truck then I think is going to go to the lake, is what we kind of thought about doing. You're going to see quotes come out, you know, at the beginning of the year to get rid of vehicles, and you're going to see every opportunity I have to get rid of these damn Dodge Durangos. We've had nothing but problems with them since the day we got them. They're in the shop more than they're on the road, and when they get opportunity to get modeled out, the first thing they're doing, they're gone. I'm getting rid of them. They were cheap at the time. They still are cheap. They're, you know, a few $1,000s cheaper than the Fords and anything else, but I will never have another Dodge Durango on my expenses as long as I'm in office. They just can't hold up to what we put them through. But anyway, that being said, we still rob Peter to pay Paul at the lake like everything else. But luckily, you know, Wolf Creek puts $100,000 into the budget to help me pay for my salaries out there. Other than that, Don, there's nothing extravagant that I'm going to have.
Okay.
But anyway, I have this written up for you from same year we just changed the dates. If you like to see that, wherever it is, there's a place for your signatures.
This goes into effect
It would go into effect the 13th day of January, the day I'm sworn in.
January 13th.
I don't remember if we made a motion on
Yeah, she typed it up.
that. Okay.
What's the date?
Well, it'd be the end of his term, right?
January 13th will be the begin date, so.
Yeah, begin date, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Until
that
I think
runs-
it's January 9th of 2029 is what we go to.
Okay.
Unless you're ousted by then.
Unless, well, yes, unless Wade ousts me, gets a recall election, or I decide to retire, which I could, you know, do long ago, but could have done 4 years ago. But
Okay.
if you would like, I'll sign that now. I guess you can go down and I'll sign it and it'll be all yours.
Motion to approve the employment agreement between Thomas L. Johnson and Coffee County Commission as Lake Director in the amount of $650 per month, effective January 13th, 2025 through January 9th of 2029.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Moved by McCurry, seconded by Meats. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And if you can, whenever you put it down, just email me a copy or whatever, scan it, we'll put it on our records.
Sure.
Gentlemen, thank you. That's all I have for you today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care, Tom.
Enjoy the nice weather.
Oh, I'm gonna sit here and listen to everything else. If you're not gonna run me out, I'll stay here.
Saban's coming up pretty quick, so I don't know whether you'll have anything interesting or not.
CFS Engineering, you're up.
Okay. All right. I don't know if it's always interesting, but I know your guys' questions are usually more interesting than what I have to say, so. Just a couple updates is what I wanted to get before Christmas. And you may have already heard this from Ryan, but there were bids opened on the cost share project with Kansas funds last week. This was the turn lanes on 75. And bids were open, 3 bids were received. To start with the engineer's estimate, this was one where BG was hired as the engineer, and we just oversaw that as your county engineer. The engineer's estimate for the project was $1,981,315.85. The 3 bids that were received, one came in from Kilo, one came from APAC, one came from Bettis. The apparent low bid was from Kilo at $1,749,574.49.
What was number 2? Do you got it?
Yes, I do have them all. Number 2 was APAC at $2,244,122.75. I can go ahead and give you the third. Bettis was $2,499,999.75. $519,872.54.
Well, Kellogg was even $230,000 less than your estimate. So,
Kilo loves Coffee County, I think.
Yeah.
I think,
They like working down there, I know that.
yeah, and they're solid.
They're good company. No, they
good
are
company.
solid.
They're solid.
They've been there for a long time.
You take these other two bids that are higher than what your estimate is gonna be. And you probably can't answer that, maybe it ain't a fair question. Is something up because they're so busy they can't get to it? If they get to it, they're gonna get paid well.
I think that, again, it would be my opinion, I don't wanna speak for them, all the contractors are busy. My guess is that, some of these projects are considered smaller to some that maybe APAC and Bettis are going after. So they're gonna probably add some cost to that because they're moving mobilization to and from projects. Again, that's just my guess from my background.
I don't mean to get you in trouble.
No, I don't mind speaking it. They would tell you directly, but I think that's general what we're seeing. I think there's still a lot of work going on. There's still a lot of work going on out there.
Crazy.
What's that?
Crazy.
Yeah.
I could bid every day.
Yeah.
Every day of the week, I could bid something.
Wow. Yeah, there's it's amazing. It's amazing. We're
booked up till, July or August now.
Again, my opinion, the interest rate period that we've gone through really hasn't had this humongous impact that everyone expected it would. Again, just from stuff I read in our industry, I think some of that is because we really had from 08, 09, about 10 to 12 years of really excellent economic growth across the board. And with some of the federal laws that were put in place about lending, particularly for homes and things like that in 08, 09, it actually has put more cash that people were banking during that whole 10 to 12 year period. So as the interest rates went up, people who were building were still able to move forward because they were using cash and not having to borrow as much. So I think there's a lot of things in play that are beneficial to still having construction ongoing. All three of these bidders did have all the proper documentation. Their bid bonds were present. So now what we'll do is the typical, we'll check everything and ask them to provide everything, and then be back with a formal request for a letter to approve the low bid. The other item that I wanted to update you on was to give you a quick update on the water study that we have been conducting on your behalf. So currently the work to complete mostly involves Coffee District 3. They have provided all their data. We've updated the model, the water model for the existing conditions. And we've also gathered their historical water use information and begun a review of that. We have made a request for the other districts to provide their same data. We're waiting for that. As long as we get that data, early January, then I expect that we would have the draft of this done by early February for your review. The one item that I need to say I've maybe made a inadvertent mistake on, when we did the contract for the work, in our discussions with Wholesale 12 and their engineer, Midwest Engineers, because of the work they were doing for the KSMC site, I thought what they were telling me was their water study work was included in that number. It actually was half included in that number. So they have paid for the KSMC water work, and we've got that information. But as it relates to the rest of their network and how it affects Coffee County, there's some additional work that needs to be done to the tune of about $38,000 that would be needed to add to the budget. Their request of me, I told them I'd bring that forward to you, was if it's possible to maybe contract that with Wholesale 12 directly. It doesn't necessarily have to flow through us. it can, it's however you would want to do it. And I'm only here to bring this to you now, I'm not asking for you to approve it. If you're favorable, I'll come back with something more in writing, that covers it, but, there's a thought that maybe because Midwest Engineers is actually providing us that information, if the money went right to Wholesale 12, then it's contracted, they just provide us the data.
So the 38,000 would be on top of the
17.
117?
Yes,
Correct.
that's correct, yeah. And if you remember, our original number when we went for the grant was like 165, so we're still, kind of been working to keep that number down.
If I remember correctly, they've sat back there and said that it would cost $38,000 to do the study.
Is that right?
If I remember correctly.
And so it was my miss. I kind of misunderstood what they were bringing to our attention.
I think there was some numbers at around 25,000, and then they was like, well, it's gonna be 38 or something.
Yeah.
I know it was over $30,000.
Yeah, it was over 30, and the actual numbers, it's like 37,580 or something, but I'm trying to just be careful with the number at this point. So, anyway, wanted to bring that to your attention. That would make that piece whole, and then we'd have everything we need to complete.
We can't have it without it.
Right,
I was gonna say, we've got to have that, it's got to be done to finish it up.
Or your water study, you done blown $116,000, it's no good.
Yeah, we need it. We need it.
So, I'm not in favor of throwing another check out to another entity. I would still go through CFS.
And I can do a letter where we just do it as a supplement to the existing contract, and then we do it that way.
Because then that way, all that information has to come to you,
Has to come to us.
and then we own it at the end of the day.
That's correct.
Yes,
So
That's
that'd
correct.
be my.
I would be my thinking. going
No,
forward.
Okay.
I think that's what it's.
Then I'll go ahead and put a letter together and get it to you probably, I don't know, what's your next meeting schedule? You meeting on Monday?
Yeah.
Are you meeting Monday?
This one and the next one.
It's just another work day.
I get it. I hope you got some of the cookies I brought for Christmas cookies.
I don't, there's something back here, I don't know where it's
You guys were kind of busy when I brought them back.
They're not the long-lasting kind, though.
I can bring more.
from. Yeah, they are. You eat one, it lasts right down here.
They keep giving.
Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and put a letter together and then bring it back for you
That would
guys,
be my
and
suggestion.
do it as a supplement.
I don't know if we need to make a motion to, I don't know what account that come out of to pay for that. I don't know.
I don't remember, I'd have to rely on Angie, when we did the meeting.
I'm gonna say it's probably out of capital improvement, but I don't know that for
I
sure.
don't.
I can't
Well,
remember where it came from.
We got a little time.
We got a little time on that, Angie can look
Okay.
at that, maybe she's out today, but maybe shoot her an email. And
Okay,
say, where did we pull the 116 for the water study
okay,
out of? So that way we can have that next week if you're down here next week.
perfect.
Get it done.
All right.
So,
Well,
Needed.
that's all I had. Just wanted to do those were the two major ones I wanted to get in front of you. Not bad, not bad. Not quite 5, but close, so.
Good to see you, Say.
Good to see you guys.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your honesty on all this.
I appreciate it.
You said we was gonna be behind schedule.
I was for it,
Well, now we're back into the country western song, waiting on waiting.
Take care.
Take care. See you. Anybody need a break? Need a break? Stand up,
Be okay.
walk around?
What are we down to, 11:15?
Yeah.
Yep,
Everything else?
We're just flying.
we're flying.
We'll wait if you can be here in 10 minutes.
Yep, well, that's what I'll do. We'll take a 10-minute break. We'll come back at 10:43.
11:15.
Yeah, see if we can speed that up, or you can hook this
So it was,
into the head.
it took about 4 months for me to get my text back.
It's coming back slowly, but
I hate it.
ketchup, mustard, onions, jalapenos, cheeses.
Okay, I've got it.
All right, we're back.
I've got it. See you later.
Mr. Wade, go ahead, Counselor. Contractor news, review. You're 11:30, or 11:15.
Yeah.
So,
I apologize for going back and forth. The reason why, Dr. Wyatt just finished presenting to the Osage County Board of County Commissioners and sort of had that set up behind the scenes, and I set up a Zoom link, so I was making sure as people entered into the Zoom room that I had to actually allow them in, and then went through the presentation, and then the Board of County Commissioners for Osage County, then they made their motion to support whatever needed to be done moving forward. So,
That's great.
I've also been in contact with several other counties and their county councilors, and they're getting the message to their commissioners as well. I've not heard any negative feedback to this point. So that's sort of why I was going back and forth. That meeting's over. What it did though was not allow me to, out of an abundance of caution, to use my desktop to finish up some of the documents I wanted to present to you. So the contract that's going to be discussed is the county councilor contract. This time of year, every 4 years, it gets brought up long before me. So I would request maybe a 10-minute executive session. Myself and the board, in my capacity as county councilor, to discuss the county councilor contract.
Okay.
Is this contract, is it for a 4-year contract?
Yes.
Same as the term?
Good.
Motion to enter into 10-minute executive session with the board and county councilor Wade Bowie to discuss contract renewal.
So non-elected personnel.
Non-elected personnel job performance.
Well, contract review.
Contract.
The discussion of contract. And then there'll be a further discussion afterwards. Yep.
10-minute executive session, board and county councilor, non-elected personnel contract review to discuss the county councilor contract.
I'll move.
Second. Moved by Thompson, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We'll enter at 10:50.
You know he knows.
Yeah, so he can enlighten us.
Yeah, but it's... Tom's still coming. Tom's coming.
Okay, John's with.
I assume by everybody still standing.
We didn't want to get too comfortable. Wade was 2 minutes late. Might have been enough time, but...
That didn't help either.
Okay, we're back. We're going to go back under the same motion as previously for another 15 minutes. Is that good, Wade?
Yep.
Also move.
Moved by Meade, seconded by McCurry to enter back in. All in favor? Aye. We'll enter at 11:06 for 15 minutes. Give you enough time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back. Oh, good. That's that. Buddy, I bring muscle. That's you sitting in a chair. I got a job. Let's go. There's many times that I don't think he has any idea how does he know strength. He is a bear. We got it then.
You just like right there. Henry caught my toe and ended up there.
Yeah. I understand.
Okay.
So I'd say an update from that executive session is, the discussion needs to marinate. And it may be, discussed a week from now again. Fair statement?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
For me. Our, 11:30 is available for executive session. My question on that is, what do we feel is gonna be adequate time? Do we wanna go 30 minutes? 15 minutes? 20 minutes?
Although I'm not very good at estimating time.
No, you screwed up the last one.
Well, I mean, it's gonna be, in my eyes, it's gonna be pretty cut and dry. There's not gonna be I don't think there's gonna be a lot of back and forth.
A whole lot of, yeah.
I think it's gonna be no, yes, or no. Okay.
Okay. Candidate number 5 may have a few questions yet.
Probably.
So probably ought to go 20.
20 minutes.
I wouldn't think we'd have to go to 30.
Okay. If he's available, I don't know why we can't move on down there. Executive session to discuss, candidate number 5 for economic development for 20 minutes.
Which would be non-elected personnel.
I'll make that motion for 20 minutes.
I'll second that.
Moved by McCurry, seconded by Thompson. Any discussion?
And that's,
Oh, the board and Wade, County Councilor Wade Bowie,
And candidate 5.
and candidate 5. So, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We'll enter at 11:28 for 20 minutes.
You been getting in our boxes, Tom? Maybe this is
I sent you,
Getting in your boxes for what?
cookies.
No, and I
sent you an email
cannot
from
drop a
Andy
dime on, I'm not a
with
rat,
motions
but
that I have
there's
typed up.
somebody in this room, and it's not
I just took
me
whatever was written
that has been
in that
partaking
little
in them.
section.
But I'm not about to drop a dime on anybody.
And I put them all into one motion, just with bullet points,
Good.
like you
That's
have
how
been doing in the past.
That's how I started doing it.
The sugar cookies are too big.
I figured that box of stuff was already gone.
No, there's a second layer. I got the cover off of it back there.
Jesse,
That actually
Jesse
works,
gets deeper and
works well. Your TV screen's blank again, so.
It's like it is in my hand sometimes.
Yeah. Just a flash.
You look up thinking you're gonna see something on the screen and you look at my face and it's just blank.
And I was kind of disappointed in the Lions yesterday.
So they lost potentially 3 more players for the rest of the year.
No.
Their corner, defensive tackle, and then David Montgomery, they said he's got an MCL tear that he's gonna be done for the year.
they got beat up pretty bad. I mean,
Least they could have done was at least win yesterday.
I know, they tried.
That's the only time I cheer for them.
I'm gonna have to change glasses. I'm having to bring this.
You mean like me when I pick my tablet
Yeah,
up
that's
and I'm
right.
reading?
That's right.
When we get sent our agenda, if I look at it when you send it out first, you click on that, like blow up the screen, and I can read it, but when it comes in that, you know, when you send it in the link, then like on your phone, you can't blow it up, I can't read it. I mean, I've got to stare and stare to read it on my phone.
I think it's because when it's in Canva, we just copy and paste it as an image, so it's not an actual document of its own.
Yeah, yeah, because it's
I'll try dragging it out, figuring it out. Makes it a little easier to
old
read.
people friendly, you know.
It only lets you do some.
I'm just challenged.
Okay. Tom and I had to make a pit stop. We're back, I guess, to be continued on the last executive session with candidate number 5 at a later date. Lady Bowie County Councilor, pay application 12, change order 24, 25, and 26.
I know this is everybody's favorite time of the month. When,
Oh, yeah. I can hardly wait.
Yeah, when you try to get this set up, this is my favorite time of the month. When you try to get this, I'm just gonna put my 2 cents in, yeah, watching you for 25 minutes, trying to get this to come up, Wade.
Yeah. All the fun.
you need to be up here and say something more often, because look at that.
Well, that's a great picture of a shoreline and a walk, but that's not the paperwork that we need to have appearing on that.
That's not what our facility was.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want me to go look at it, I'll go look at it.
Yeah.
I'll go tour it.
Check it out.
I know there's streets with umbrellas close to there.
Right, you would think so.
Just remember a couple of things, you can kind of put someplace like that. Those survey sets. Yeah.
All right, where do you want to start? Change orders or pay out?
Let's go change orders.
All right, good choice.
That way I can get fired up. I see credit.
That's my foot, but it disappeared, don't it?
Well, I wonder who the world kicked me down here.
You kicked me, my foot was stationary.
I'm sorry about that.
You nudged me, it wasn't a kick.
All right, can you see, this is change order number 24, and some of my notes are off to the side. Myself and Sheriff went through this with Cole last week, all of this and the pay app. So you'll see each of them has their potential change order number, which is confusing. So potential change order 35 will be $2,644, and that is to change the size of the skylights for framing and drywall. You'll see in this change order, they had to be changed to impact the daylight for ambient light in the jail cells. And why is it important to have ambient light for inmates?
Suntanning.
Federal law says that they have to be able to see the condition of the world, whether it's daylight or dark, for example. So, yeah, federal law says they gotta see it, and that happens.
So, as you see the note over to the left, 35 to frame out larger sizing. So there was already lights there, or skylights there, they were just enlarged. Not all of them, just, I don't know, a handful.
Yeah, I don't remember how many you said.
Potential change order 37 is $7,242 to change the wall height and grouting requirements for various block walls. You wanna?
So for example, on the second floor, to the very south end, they put the wall up on the building. You know, this is talking about the back side of the building. there's a cutout back there, a little, a cutout. They didn't realize that that cutout should have been like a 8-foot wall instead of a 6-foot wall. It's got to, if they don't have that, then there'd be nothing to put any steel on. It has to be a certain height wall. So some of this is due to having to make those walls bigger. One of the things is the secure corridor going into the building, into this building. You'll see that that wall is 8 foot tall or whatever coming in there. When they originally built it, it went above the top of the existing building. So that needed to be brought down and put in level to come into the building. So there's just a couple of things here that this had to cover.
So you'll see the next one is potential change order 43, and that's $641, increasing studs to 8 inches above raised CMU top of vehicular sally port. That can be explained a little later. And everybody's favorite to see potential change order 44 is a credit of $7,424. You give it, then they will take it away. But credit for removing drywall from studs behind rear chases, and that was a decision the sheriff made to keep them open, to cut down some cost, to have it available for something else due to some of the other change orders that have taken place.
Yeah.
So that total for change order 24 is $3,103 to be taken out of the project contingency. And then we just go through and it sort of details each one of those. Skylight size changes. It'll have the change order request. This is from Higgins, as you see, metal studs, drywall, insulation, acoustical ethos, what the material, what their cost is. This is the Goldberg supplement that goes with what's needed. Here's the drawing.
The ice cream guy's going by, just keep going, just keep going.
Not a sound I'm used to hearing out in the hallway. And there's a hard copy over there somewhere of what we're looking at. Potential change order 37, this is the masonry changes, so revising the wall height, and RFI 87, changing the wall type and booking and intake. That's $7,242 as we talked about. So here's subcontract costs, Wheatland RFI 87, lower walls due to open wall height, and then fully grout walls on the exterior. These are sort of where those costs come in, why I put those notes. As you see for Wheatland masonry, for example, here's the breakdown. Additional grout and rebar, additional labor, additional shipping and travel fees. So everything is detailed. If you remember going from 6-inch to 8-inch, this is potential change order 43. Changing the stud size on the south wall of room 239 from 6-inch to 8-inch studs to cover the block wall.
Come on, Max.
Is that big enough for you? Do I need to make it bigger?
That's fine.
Okay. Again, Higgins, their breakdown. And then this is where they're talking about, you can see sideways, staff training is room 239. And what was the reason why the size of the studs was changed?
because there's a cutout, of course, that's turned, the red is the south wall, the very south wall, there you go. And you'll see the difference on the very southeast corner of that room. The wall space there was not, it was 8-inch studs, east of there. This wasn't, this was 6-inch studs.
You're talking about right here?
Yes, that red line there. So to make that where there wasn't a huge, just cut out in the wall, they wanted to make 8 inches here and 8 inches there, so it made a good clean run with their sheetrock.
Just more cosmetic than anything.
No, sir, if you put 6-inch up there, back there, at that back section, when they originally did it, it only had a short wall. So it needed to have that 8-inch to make the wall completely in line with it. It's not cosmetic. You already had to have a six in there, but it just made it to where you would have so much brick to go in there to clean that up, and they'd had to cut brick to put in because it's not a true 8-inch. So they wanted to put the 8 inches where it would all be seamless coming through. Not, some cosmetic, but the rest of it was.
Potential change order number 44, this is the one that's the credit removing drywall behind the jail post. So that's a credit of $7,424, and this is all the documents that go with that credit from Higgins, $4,200. Then the rental of the equipment, the scissor lift, wall boom lift. Then that's change order 24. See it? Painless.
You should save the best for last, aren't you?
Change order 25. This is tied to potential change order 39, and it's a cost of $23,239 for signage, letters, and seal to the front of the building. So it's all tied to added signage, and probably the best way to go through this. IBC, I think, is responsible for this, and you'll see, let me flip this. So on the front of the building, you see that? Coffee County Law Enforcement Center, Sheriff Detention, County Attorney, then their seals. And that's mainly where the area is. They are where they wrought iron or
there's
some sort of solid metal, and then they're permanently attached and affixed to the building. And I think there's 2 or 3 inches sticking out, so they kind of float. Is that?
Yep. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not very good at describing.
That's one of those deals that Goldberg should have had in the original bid.
He did. That's if you have a problem with it, it's my responsibility. When they brought this to me, it said Coffee County Law Enforcement Center. I don't know how many of you have driven someplace and you can't figure out where you're going because it doesn't give you any idea of what's inside that building. And I said, we'd offered other entities in this county the chance to move over to this new building. Nobody wanted to. We offered it to Wade. Wade took it. I felt that should say Coffee County Law Enforcement Center, and then say this is the sheriff's office, this is our detention, and this is the county attorney's office. More people come to see Wade than ever come to see the sheriff. I thought it should have that. And when I did that, it had my seal. That was already done. And I told Wade, I've got a seal on the front. It's going to say this is your building. You ought to have a seal made. and he did, and that's the extra cost of me saying that I wanted that on the front of the building. So,
Makes sense.
yeah, this is not a Goldberg issue. He had that original cost of that law enforcement center and my seal on it. This is extra.
This is add-on.
This is add-on because I felt that it should say who's in that building.
Well, somebody's looking for that person.
When you're driving around, you're looking, there's two buildings here. Do I go in here? That used to be here, you go talk to Wade. Now we ought to have a building for the next 40, 50 years. They know where the sheriff's office and where the jail's at. Once an officer pulls through, it's never been here, you can say, okay, this is detention. He's gonna drive around the building and see the Sally Port with the speaker system to walk in, push the button and walk in. I mean, everybody, would wanna know which building you're going to.
So that's the end of change order 25.
Okay.
Short but sweet. Change order 26. So this ties to potential change order 40. That's a credit of $17,301 for removing 2 air handler units to the elevator shafts. Potential change order 42. That's taking 1,709, which adds a sync to central control, and then potential change order 46, which is 12,388 additional fire alarm panel and dispatch that monitors the existing building. And you'll see once we go through this why each was necessary. So starting with potential change order 40. Those are my notes, and I think it's removing mini splits for the elevators, and it was determined that that was something that needed to be done, and that is a cost savings of $17,000. There's a dialogue that goes with it.
What's that actually represent there to the, that were taken out?
So that's airflow to the elevator shafts that the...
Okay, so it's airflow, I think it said an airlift in that first deal.
It is airflow, airlift, air... So what they were, if you remember correctly, months ago, Goldberg Associates in Trova, the engineers, were saying that there had to be these air vents, dampers, whatever, going to that elevator shaft due to fire. And Goldberg stuck up, and well, our guys did, Ryan, those guys, River City, and said, hey, we've never put these in this amount of, the amount of these that you're wanting us to put in here, why are they having to go in? And Trova says, well, it's fire rated, it's due to fire. And, you know, they're arguing for us, they're saying, no, that's not right. We've never put these in before, what's the issue here? And it ended up that they didn't have to put those in due to state fire marshal's code. So that's why we had $17,000. River City stood up for us and said that we don't think this is right.
So,
Well, that first statement, I think, said airlift, and that's the reason I didn't understand what
Yeah, that's what it is.
so here was the sort of the dialogue that went behind the scenes from Introva. So the request, elevator walls noted as 1-hour fire barriers, but no damper shown at penetration to shafts. And then those are the diagrams, the response. Delete ACU 11 and associated ductwork piping and controls. Elevator shaft walls shall not be penetrated with ductwork. And then it's further described here. So these are the blow-up areas where I'm sure it's Derek from River City, or from Goldberg, is the one who said, yeah, to remove them. So that answer your question, Don? Okay. Potential change order 42. So $1,709 for sink and piping related to RFI 103. And Don, I already asked for you, why is this happening now? And you see my note It was not listed in the original design, so it was not bid, but it has to be there.
The sink itself was not.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything else was in the bid, it's just the sink.
The sink wasn't.
So that's
Okay.
the sink, you know.
So here's the.
Pretty expensive sink at
Well,
$17.09.
yeah, the sink and putting it together, the labor and everything else, but yes, that's what I said too. That is for the sink only, I mean, it was in the plans.
Okay.
So we went through this, and that's why some of this is highlighted. I said, Don's gonna fire off a bunch of questions, and what in the world is going on? So here's the question, and I highlighted it. So there is no fixture tag for the sink in central control 143, and that's the room number. This sink was not included in our price. Is a S1 desired, sink 1 desired in this location? If not, please advise on the sink type. Easy answer could have been no. I guess they could bring a bucket in, but Derek, it was intended that a sink should be provided as scheduled on the plumbing fixture schedule. So that was the response, and sort of there's a dialogue. So there's the missing sink.
Yeah.
And then you have the plumbing.
Okay.
So it's one of those things, and why you have a contingency for things like that. And it is an expensive sink, but it's a industrial sink that will serve a jail, which I'm sure, and in that location, will probably get used for a variety of things. So this one may also cause some questions, and once the explanation is given, I think you'll understand why this is necessary as well. So this is potential change order 46. This is dealing with fire alarm panels. So I was confused to begin with, and you'll see some pictures here in a minute, like what is happening. In the existing building right now, there's a fire control panel.
In dispatch.
Yep. This is adding sort of a remote fire alarm panel that goes from the existing panel over to the new building. I was under the impression originally that there would be a whole new panel put in the new building, but you need to have one at both. So that's what this is, adding a fire alarm panel in dispatch that is connected to the existing building per the request of the county. $12,388, and this goes through, it's an FA remote annunciator panel to monitor courthouse fire alarm system, and then all the things that go with it. So I went through that fast if you want to read it. So then all the costs that go with it broken down to the, if you don't watch fast enough because I'm moving fast, down to the steel washer and lock washer and saddle washer is how detailed this gets. So the annunciator itself, and I thought you might want to see this, Don, like an annunciator. It's $372, but it's 6 hours of labor to install it because you're gonna have to run a bunch of wire from the existing panel over to the new facility, and that's where that 6 hours comes in.
What's that word? I can't pronounce it. What's that word mean?
Annunciator?
That's the actual panel itself. That's what it's called.
I kind of figured it might be, but I didn't have any.
So, and then I highlighted this so you could see, in the existing dispatch room is the fire alarm panel for the existing courthouse jail. The county would like a remote notification system put in the new dispatch center that can tell them the status in the existing facility. Attached are pictures of their current system, what needs to be installed in the new facility to be able to make this work. For remote notification, this is the response, a fire alarm annunciator panel needs to be installed in the new facility and connected to the existing facility in the existing courthouse jail. The installation should follow all requirements laid out in specification section 2A3111, provide field wiring, programming, and testing to verify the system is functioning correctly, coordinate with existing system manufacturer for exact requirements. So there's your detailed request and response, why that needs to be done. And then this is the existing one in dispatch.
You know, in this jail, there's a huge amount of electrical stuff, electrical panels, and fireproof and everything, whatever you want to call it. Do we need to have a local electrician be well aware of how this system is set up, or get an employee trained that fully understands these panels, and in case something goes down, that can bring stuff back up?
There's no way that you're gonna get an electrician unless, hence the reason for blueprints. An electrician, you should be able to walk in, hand him a set of blueprints, and you can follow whatever needs to be, whatever needs to be done and follow blueprints for that. Hopefully, that's what me and my staff are here for. I mean, we're on this every step of what's going on. When it comes to the jail site, whether it's water or plumbing or electricity or fire systems, each individual department is gonna have the knowledge that we have. We have to have that. When there's a leak, when there's a problem, we have to be able to troubleshoot it to get either these companies that have put it in or our local people in to work on it. So, again, I don't know how much more
So you feel like you'll
detail we
have,
can have.
feel like you'll have the employees that'll be trained well enough to handle those issues that come up?
Well, they're not gonna be able to open up some electrical panel and change,
So that's what,
and change breakers. That's, we're not electricians.
yes, that's
But
where
we'll be
I'm
able
getting
to
at.
troubleshoot anything that comes up to find out what the
Right.
issues be, hopefully.
That's where this training that you're gonna try to get started with in March. or
Absolutely.
wherever
Well,
that-
they've already been doing a lot of that too,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
absolutely.
Right.
There's a huge amount of,
Not only is that computer, that Wade's using, that we're using, in our system, the security systems, the water, everything else, hopefully we're gonna be on top of this, have to be from day one. There can't be this, well, we think we have it. You've either got it or you don't.
Right.
So that was the end of that one. Now we go on to the fun stuff.
the big one, huh?
He's lying, he's lying. Okay, he's
wanna-
lying.
At least that's less money than it was last time.
You wanna take a drink, take a breather, get up and stretch?
Hammer it.
Alright, that's what I like to hear. So, now we're on the pay app. Those were the 3 change orders. This is pay app number 12 for the period ending November 30th. So, the ask with the 10% retainage, $1,876,000, 1,876.38.74. So as they all do, you have the spreadsheet that goes with it that tracks things. We're gonna skip past that and go straight into the pay apps. Wheatland Masonry, it's pay app number 8 for them. Current payment due, $85,500. Their total was $95,000. This is what that ties to block labor, brick labor, $20,000 and $75,000 respectively. That's where you get your total. It's pretty self-explanatory, unless you have a question.
Did that say if they had 25,000 balance to finish, they're getting towards the tail end of that,
Yep.
No, they're about done.
Yep.
The brick and masonry is about, it's about done. Once you see them, they'll have to come back and do some things in the spring, finish out some areas, as far as that exterior bricking and stuff, but other than that, these folks are just about done.
Right.
25,000, getting pretty close to the end.
Yeah.
So if you look here, balance to finish, 197,686, and their total was in this neighborhood. The 1.7, so they're pretty close. HME, which is your steel, pay app number 10.
We're on blurry, there we go.
That's good. I was gonna say, that looked like some of my truck drivers.
Looks something like you and I do, wouldn't it?
So the total ask is 87,640, but with the retainage, 78,876. And as you see, I like to put notes, so steel bracing and at multiple locations, tubing support, walk-in mezzanine was the main lion's share of the steel cost this time. Joist and decking, that's the total.
Do you understand what that means? So the mezzanine level, the second floor, you know, when you walk up the stairs along one of the sides of the pie, you'll walk up the sides to get up to the second floor. That's the steel that's using for that second story mezzanine to get up to that second floor.
That's in front of their cells.
That's right, sir.
basically.
That's correct.
So that's the total there. IBC Carpentry, pay app number 9, their total 82,271.60, with the retainage, what's due here, 74,044 and 44 cents. That's broken down here for travel, specialty blades. The specialty blades in item 3 ties to 10 armor core materials. Those are the ballistic panels, and you can't just use your regular saw blade that you get at boom jars. And I don't know how many panels there are, but there's quite a bunch. Yeah. In-wall blocking, lift rental, and all of those things add up. And then DFH, the labor tied to doors, frames, and hardware. And that gets us to the 82,271.60. See, isn't this fun? We're flying right through it.
Zoom. It's almost.
It's not like a root canal.
And we fight when, you guys don't see the fight going on that we have downstairs before we come up here over this, yeah, so.
Well, we get to a certain one and things come to a screeching halt because I'm like, Cole, I have no idea where you're coming up with these numbers. You're gonna have to, and we spend what, 45 minutes on this one.
Yeah,
one application.
I'll argue that price is too high, but you know, there's just something going on continually. It's a wonder we don't come out of there with tourniquets on arms and legs.
And he, Cole, to his credit, he's already emailed these companies and said, sheriff and county attorney are gonna press me on this.
Yeah.
So he'll pull up on his phone and say, here's your answer to that.
Yeah.
That question. So
Tries to help you move it along that way.
Well, he knows what I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows that there's questions that we're gonna bring them up, and he goes ahead of time and knows that that's gonna be an issue.
So pay app number 3 for Alpha Roofing, 48,657.65, breaks down to 43,791.88. TPO roof application and metal materials and installation. That's where that total comes from. Soward's Glass. Sowards. I get that wrong every time too. 13,065. Retainage 11,758.51. Fabrication and labor. And if you've been out there, quite a few are the smaller windows are installed.
Mm-hmm.
Almost all the small windows are installed.
Yeah. Higgins Group, 52,493.74, framing and drywall. 47,244.37 as the request. That's their pay app number 5. General conditions, because we always ask. I can't even read my writing. Layout, supervision, travel, rental, etc. are all included in the general conditions. And as you see, that general conditions bid $134,800, so they're at 55% even with that 367. And then framing, labor, material, drywall, labor and material. I've not been in the building in a while, so I assume even when you guys took the tour, there's some drywall up and starting to look
Major
like.
drywall's put up upstairs.
Yeah.
You guys wouldn't recognize it if you walked back up.
It must
there.
really be progressing now, the way you're talking.
So what, there's, again, the outside folks are just about done. Everything's moved to the inside, so
Yeah.
the 20 people you saw outside the building are now done, and now more carpenters, steel people are inside getting everything finished. So I was told last week, Tom, you gotta come back. So just there 2 weeks ago with the commissioners, they said, yeah, but sheet rock is almost done upstairs. You wouldn't, so that, yeah, they're moving on.
Gotta look totally.
Moving like that, yeah, going to town.
Yeah.
Get a little heat up there, they're willing to work for nothing, you know.
Poly Jail, pay app number 10, total of $726,703.70. Work completed is $709,237.15, and then stored materials $17,465.85. That's the total with retainage, $654,032.70. I didn't put a lot of notes related to the cells themselves because I think that pretty much speaks for itself. And the freight to move those suckers here, $41,776, and then the installation, but the cells speak for themselves. Security wall panels installation, $61,413. Dorm metal wall panels is what that is.
If you remember, if you looked in one of the pods, I think it's pod E or F, there's that solid steel that goes from the end of in front of the rooms that we're going to put Steve in, down on one wall is nothing but solid steel. Because of the size of those cells being bigger than others, to make that pod work out is that solid steel wall is there. So that's what that is directly right there.
And then on the next page, plumbing, mod backs, material, and labor. That's the installation, and those materials are $108,000 going directly behind the.
Attaching everything to the sewers, to the water, to electric, everything on the mod backs.
Are they totally finished behind the pods now?
Totally finished? No, it's not. There's some concrete's going to be poured in there, where they cut out to make sure all these could come in. They'll come in and finish in. I mean, probably wheelbarrows back through there because it's not wide enough to get anything, 34 inches. And they'll fill in some stuff back there, but.
See, there's a lot of money there we're paying this time for behind the pods.
Yeah, for attaching stuff. Yeah, for actually attaching, yeah.
And then the next sheet down, equipment rental, storage trailers, travel. They had quite the crew here from Poly to install those.
Four specialty guys that came here, that's what they do is move these and install.
And if you watched it go down, I mean, it's quite the operation.
I watched them on the outside when they was doing stuff. Those four didn't ask any of the others what they was gonna do. They each knew what the responsibilities were of each one.
Yeah. Yeah, this wasn't their first rodeo.
Yeah. Where were those pods built at? I'm just curious where they came from. Irrelevant.
It's like Indiana or something.
Yeah.
I think it's Indiana.
Yeah.
Yep.
The mod backs are built up by Des Moines. Yes, we went up there to watch them where they've been built, yeah.
So there's your total. You add those two columns, and that's what you get. Conley sprinkler, pay app number 3, $58,862, the total before retainage, $65,402.90. Materials is a huge part, sprinkler pipe, the labor, Sallyport, which is from change order 2, and then change order 3, remove, I don't remember what that stands for, but it was a credit of $22,079, that's where that total comes from. McElroy's application, pay app number 9, their total $567,148 with retainage $510,433.20. There's a lot of stuff going on here. As you see, we go through every single one of them, so they should all have check marks by them, but.
Great picture there, Mike. Great. Why do you turn after?
After it changes back to clear.
So airside, the one that we asked about and he was ready to answer, airside equipment duct, fans ducts,
Split.
spiral and something ducts. It's too small for me to read, but that's what that's for.
Was that the equipment decking for the elevators, was that what that was?
I don't remember now. I don't think so. So that's that total. Shelley Electric, pay app number 9. Current payment due, total of $220,361.40. Work completed is $96,141.40. Stored materials $124,280. And with retainage, that's $198,325.26. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. This is the one we spent 45 minutes on. And this is the one, if you remember, every month their stored materials numbers aren't right, and then what they did different this month that really threw things off is they took this gear equipment material only. This number was here, and then they moved it to work completed because apparently after you install it, they consider that work completed, and it made things a whole lot trickier to track. So anyways, we figured it out. 70,830 is not the right number. 12,005 is. Same thing with this 141,530. That should be 124,220 for pipe fixtures, and then the 62 has already been taken care of. We get down here at the bottom, and this number's not right. We subtract 58,825 from that number, and we get the 96,141.40. And where that comes from, I put it here, it was previously billed in pay app under stored material. And then the 124,220 is from up here, because we keep a running tab of what these numbers are. So these numbers, we're subtracting those because those have already been covered in previous pay apps. This is the only new amount. What they're doing every month is they just add to it. And that's where the confusion comes from, so we have to go back and subtract it.
They may understand it, but we didn't, so we're doing it our way,
So that's where that total amount comes from, and it took me a while to fully absorb that. So here's stored materials, here's the receipts or invoices that go with the materials tied to Shelley. They must have a warehouse that's full of Coffee County stuff. Like I said.
It's an easy thing to build.
But the good news is, that's it. So, gone through pay app 12, you've gone through change order
24, 25, 26.
24, 25, and 26, and if you have, if you're ready for a motion, I can throw out a motion for you as well. You ready for that, or you want to talk about it some more?
I think we've talked about it enough.
That's what we say every time we sit down and do this in my office.
That last one there, Wade, where you discovered technically we was overbilled, $58,000.
I don't know.
No.
No, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't use that word.
Okay.
We're not overbilled, it's just their way, that's their way of how they do.
How they present
their,
their-
yeah, their pay apps and everything else. We, knowing that you would have issues, and we do too, trying to figure it out.
Right.
We do it this way so we know, now if that's already been paid for, it's just in a different column for them.
For your understanding.
That's right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, when you make a comment though, and I'm not quick, it's already been paid for, almost sounds like, it's being paid again, so.
Right, no, if it's already been paid for, we just subtract that off there, yeah, on their, where we can see it and understand that app better.
Yeah. Yeah, going through this, I know it's painful for you, sitting there and going through every single one of these pages. It's probably more painful for Tom to listen to me now. What is that? Why is it for? Say that again.
I have the same questions. What we've said since day one is, we'll address you obviously on anything transparent. We expect any citizen to walk in, we want to be able to explain this to them. So that's why we spend so much time doing this, is not only explain to you, but explain to the taxpayers.
Well, I appreciate what looks like a vast amount of work on both of you's part to try to keep this where the figures are out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We told the taxpayers that this was going to be a $30 million project, not $30 million in one, and we're holding them to the fire just like we expect them to hold us to the fire. That's all there is to it.
right.
Doing it this way gets it out there, and outside of having a meeting where the public can come in and sit and watch us go through every single one of these, this is about as transparent as it gets.
The main thing about it is when you guys come out of that, your discovery and everything, you come out as friends with no bandages on or anything like that.
No, there's not saying that, Steve. No, there's a lot of makeup that goes on to make sure these black eyes, so let's not go there, okay?
I'll start. Move for the board to approve and for the chairman to sign the following change orders regarding construction related to the Coffee County Law Enforcement Center as approved by River City Construction. First, change order number 24, with costs associated with potential change order number 35, $2,644, clarifying the size of the skylights for the framing and drywall. Potential change order 37, $7,242, changing wall height and grouting requirements for various block walls. Potential change order 43, $641, increasing studs to 8-inch above raised CMU top of vehicular sally port. Potential change order number 44, $7,424 credit for removing drywall from studs behind rear chases, with a total of $3,103 to be deducted from the project construction contingency. Change order number 25, with costs associated with potential change order 39 to $23,239, adding additional signage, letters, and additional seal to the front of the building, with $23,239 to be deducted from the project construction contingency. Change order number 26, with costs associated with potential change order 40, credit of $17,301, removing 2 air handling units to elevator shafts. Potential change order 42, $1,709, adding a sink to central control. And potential change order number 46, $12,388, which includes addition of fire alarm panel and dispatch that monitors the existing building, with a total of $3,204 to be added to the project construction contingency. With no change in the project guaranteed maximum price of $25,712,855.00 for all 3 change orders.
Also,
second. Moved by Neat, seconded by Knight. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Next motion to approve the application and certificate for payment, application number 12 for period ending November 30th, 2024, submitted by River City Construction LLC in the amount of $1,876,038.74 for work completed reference to Coffee County Law Enforcement Center project, funds to come from the jail construction project fund, Fund 111.
I'll move.
Second.
Moved by Thompson, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for your guys' work for going through that each month.
Appreciate it very much.
My projects are smaller, but we use the same forms. There's not as many subcontractors as they.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. They're not easy.
You know that there's been, some advancements in our work because Wade and Cole quit wearing body armor to my meeting. So, to begin with, there were some shots that went off between us. Now, Cole has been unbelievable. He knows when he sees those lists, that we're going to have questions. Oh, I see that. I better find some answers to that. So now Cole has been very good. And again, you're right. Yeah, we sit and argue over that's not right, or why are they charging us that, or whatever. And when we're all done, we go sit and drink a cup of coffee and something to eat. So they've been very good. I'll say again, these River City guys are great to work with. Both Cole and Ryan are great to work with.
It seems pretty obvious we got a good one, in my opinion.
Yeah, when I called those places and I recommended to you what I thought, again, those other sheriffs across the United States that gave me those recommendations, they weren't wrong.
Did you get a good deal on ammo?
Yeah, we did. Same company, we've been, so once we get stuck with somebody that's being able to, you're gonna laugh about this, but I've told them since COVID, buddy, you can quote me every price you want, but you better send me a picture of you sitting on our boxes of ammo, because I'm not paying you for what you don't have. And the last vendor sat on our ammo, loaded up, ready to go, with a picture, to appease me, but, that's where we're at. If you don't have it, you can quote me on the price you want, but I want to see it before I'm sending you a check.
Yeah, you don't want us to bid. You
But
can't put bid in your
They
gun.
told us at one point, sir, we'll take your money, but we can't guarantee when we're gonna ship it. Okay, we're talking 6 weeks? Sir, you're not listening. We cannot tell you when we're gonna be able to ship then why would I give you money? I want a product that I can see. I was laughing at that vendor. I said, buddy, you can tell me all blow smoke all you want. Unless I can see your ass sitting on our ammo ready to be delivered, you're not getting, click, picture gets sent. So, we've been lucky with this last vendor.
What's the majority, 9mm?
Oh yes, 9mm, 223, our rifle ammo, and this one. It's been very good too. You get some of that. Years ago when Randy was in office, we bought some cheap ammo to shoot on the range or whatever, and then you'd have more problems and just squib load. Some of them wouldn't go out the end of the barrel. You'd have to stop and break weapons in and try to get ammo out. Luckily we spend the money to buy decent ammo. You don't have fouling problems with it. Some of them you shoot and it's just black caked on from the nasty powder you're shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we learned a long time ago that we cause more problems with that than just buying good ammo.
What brand? Federal?
Yeah, Federal.
I know we're at roundtable time. Has there been any discussion about the, concrete out here? I know at one time, the breezeway concrete, somebody's coming to look at it and so on and so forth.
Yes. The concrete has been discussed. I've discussed it with the sheriff, discussed it with, River City, and my recommendation is it be a part of the phase 2, because it, in reality, that the renovation in phase 2 ties to the concrete walking out the west doors and walking out going out the south doors, not the existing facility. So we've had some heated exchanges about that, I guess is the best word, but I think that it's early enough in the process that that's something that can be taken into consideration there, in my opinion. But you guys are the decision makers there, and option 2 is to send it out for bid. But myself and the sheriff, we were both under the impression, or he was pressing me to make me believe that it had to be done, the decision had to be made, right now. And after further discussion during one of our meetings with River City and Goldberg, it doesn't have to be made right now. They're not going to even be in that area to deal with concrete until March.
Yeah, it'll be springtime.
So, okay. So that's where that stands.
This is the first one out of there.
All of that goes in the yellow can.
All of it, I think.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. I just want to make sure.
Tom, there's a power caddy here for $8,000. What's that? I kinda got an idea what a power caddy might be, but what is it?
So there are 2 items that we're purchasing for the jail that will go through and clean floors, sanitize floors. It's basically like a mini Zamboni, that walks through. It works on steam only, there's no chemicals, and usually inmate labor does it, they clean cells and floors, you get somebody to do that. And this piece of equipment uses no chemicals, it's all steam, so they can't, take chemicals away and think they're gonna make hooch in the backyard. There's nothing there but water and steam.
That's different than what I thought you were gonna say.
Yeah.
I thought it might be a lift of some type.
No, sir. No, not the power caddy. No, there's a power caddy and a power scrubber.
Was there any way, like say in that courtyard area, we get all the other concrete done? I guess whoever bids will have to deal with it, but you'd be driving over something new to replace something old.
That was their argument, why it was brought to me.
Okay.
So this, on the very south end, for example, they're gonna, concrete from the old Sally Port west. And they didn't wanna do the driveway going down into the Sally Port, and then in 2 months, be driving over that with loaders and breakers trying to get all that concrete up around the corner of the building with brand new concrete has been poured.
Yeah.
And so that's why he said, if you're gonna do it, it probably all ought to be done at the same time.
Yeah.
And that was what was brought to me. And Cole said the same thing. We were all in the impression that decision needed to be made because they were gonna try to get that poured before winter. Well, there's other priorities that came up. Needed to get the transformer set, everything else done. So we have more time to decide that now, but you're correct. They didn't want to be driving over brand new concrete.
Yeah.
To do something, tear something else out.
Well, here's one for $20,000 that just came through the treasurer's office. $20,500, and the athletic service has to do with bonds.
I'd have to. Says who it's to up there.
I'm sorry.
It says on there somewhere who it's to.
Well, yeah, it's going to S&P Global Ratings, Chicago, Illinois. So that's just part of the cost of the last $10 million in bonds.
Yeah, that would be their fees.
Here's one, Tom, for $161,000. Intercept full body security scanning system.
Got body
3 years,
scanners for jail.
3 years part in labor. This is just part of the scanning security system in the new jail.
That's for body scanners, just like you go through, into the airport and you get a body scan.
Yes, sir.
Now, that there I had budgeted, and I talked to you earlier about being able to buy new vehicles, I've saved money. We got a federal grant from Senator Moran, and they covered all but $6,000 or $7,000 that. I had to come up with that, but, yeah, so that was written on a grant.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to question that.
No, that's no problem, yeah. Yeah, that was budgeted, we budgeted that, knew that would have to come out, I put that in my budget for 3 years to cover, but we got a grant for it anyway, so I got that money saved.
That's the last one I have. I thought you had done that. Right?
This will need to get to Heidi, and then Heidi will have to get it to Russ, so they can sign it, and then get it back to us.
What's we got for roundtable?
As I mentioned earlier, the only thing was I've reached out to multiple different counties, talked to their county counselors. One county actually talked to one of their county counselors or county commissioners. And Osage County had a meeting this morning by Zoom with Dr. Wyatt. Dr. Wyatt gave the same presentation to Osage County that he gave to Coffee County last week. Been in contact with several other counties, state representative or soon to be Barrett, Senator Marshall's office, a lot of movement behind the scenes, and hopefully there will be a number of different counties and municipalities that sign off on this agreement to get it to the right people, at least to try to gain some momentum. So appreciate the leave and opportunity to reach out to the different county councilors, to send them emails and sort of hopefully get something moving quickly, because time is of the essence. So if there's anything or anybody you think I need to be reaching out to, I'd encourage each of you. I know in Osage County they're trying to drum up some additional support from each of the cities within Osage County, and it might be worth reaching out to the governing bodies in each of the four corners of the county to see if the same could be done here as well.
Right.
So I can try to do that, but bandwidth is also an issue for me, just like it is anybody else.
Well, we had the legal mayor here last Monday, sat in on it, and school board, Ford was here, so.
So, and the goal is to have, instead of a multiple letters of support, a single letter of support signed off on by each of the counties and whoever will sign their name. I'm anticipating the majority of whoever's reached out to, once they see the economic impact for this, not only for Coffee County, but for the region and for those within a 50-mile radius. I mean, that's 900 or 800.
980 million
So,
for the state.
yeah, and that's a significant amount. And the pitch is, well, why should we help Coffee County? It's not just Coffee County. It's a big deal for the region, for the state of Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And I've not had the request fall on deaf ears to this point, and I'm not anticipating that it will, but we'll see. So that was the only update that I was going to have for today, at least.
Nothing on Marybell's building?
So,
I mean, you gave us kind of an update last week.
yeah. So I have numbers related to the roof, and the roof is going to need to be repaired. And someone would say, well, fix it and patch it. A patch is not what this building needs. It needs a complete overhaul. And I don't know how old that roof is, but from what information has been presented, what lies beneath the surface, I think it's sort of like looking at an iceberg. You see what's on the top, but you don't know what's underwater. In a way, that's what that roof looks like. And I have I've requested several bids from commercial roofing companies that they know what they're doing. It's not like putting shingles on your roof that takes a membrane to put on it, and because of the pitch and slope and all those things, it's going to be quite the effort. Because we haven't had any inclement weather, it's become less of an issue, but once it starts raining, that's when or snowing, it becomes an issue. So of those competitive bids, there's one that is an outlier that I'm trying to figure out why it's an outlier, and I don't know if I have a good answer, but it's one of those things where once that's sorted out, then I'm going to present it and ask that action be taken to remedy that situation. And it will ultimately be included later on down the road when you decide to do whatever you want to do with that building to add as a upgraded cost. Similar to if you make an improvement to your own home, it's one of those things that goes with that too. So the county has to present its property as would any other property, and this property is no different.
The only issue that I foresee is once you get that membrane off there, what's underneath there is Pandora's box. Make sure everybody understands that, I guess.
Yeah. And you know better than I do, but my impression is if you cut that existing membrane off, then there's been years and years of seepage into the existing plywood for Would it be plywood or would it be?
I don't know, that's where the Pandora's box comes in.
Yeah, once it's sheeted, but.
And if it is, then that entire area that's been compromised will have to be replaced as well, and that's the unknown. I guess the analogy would be when they went to dig for the jails, they didn't know if the parking lot, you had cells and part of the old jail underneath there, so you had to have that contingency built within the dirt work just to make sure that you had to pull anything out, and that's.
Yeah.
Maybe you're, I don't hate to drag it out, but maybe each contractor that bid it ought to have a line item if this entire roof needs per square foot to replace, or something, I don't know, I'm just suggesting, not a request.
Right, just probably hard for them too, because they don't know what materials in there would be. It's just a difficult situation.
Like you say, he's got that one bid, it's just way different from the rest.
I need to have the time just to reach out for clarification. Unfortunately, I was in court until 5:30 Wednesday, close to 5 Thursday, and then we had a special setting that was carried into the afternoon on Friday. So usually my court days aren't, Wednesdays are usually like that. Thursdays, maybe 2 lunchtime, maybe a little bit after, but it's just consumed.
Stretch it way out.
Anytime I can help you with some of that, just
Yep.
ask and you shall receive.
And then I pushed the CHIPS application contacts to making sure I made contact with people that needed to get that going.
Your plate's full.
But I like big plates and I can eat a lot.
Steve, you got anything?
Not really. The only thing I've got is, on the boards themselves. We haven't done anything on either board, have we, as far as fire?
No, we had a letter to come through that was not going to re-up on a board.
Yeah, and we had another
Then
application.
we had another application, which might be that individual's replacement, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
On the fire board, I mean, we've got 2 applications and they're for re-ups.
I think a person could act on that.
Okay, I guess that's where I was headed with it. We could go ahead and do the fire board. I would make a motion to accept the application of Bill Adams and Royce Gilman for, I don't know how to word it, re-up on the fire board for another
3 years.
3 years.
I'd second that.
Bill Adams and who?
Royce Gilman.
Do you want them in 2 separate motions, or do you want them all in the
I
same
think we
motion?
just put them together, I think. It's 1:05. It's moved by McCurry, seconded by Thompson. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes.
So on the hospital board,
We're waiting on
one. Right, okay.
And I made contact with that individual the other day, and told him, I said, you need to make a choice. Make a choice or get a replacement. I told him it was his responsibility to get a replacement.
Who seconded that motion?
I did.
Thompson did.
And it was a 3-year term?
Yes.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
That's all you got. Yes, sir. Don, do you have anything?
I'm good, Jesse.
Wade,
Nope. Do not.
do you have anything, ma'am?
Um,
Tom?
No, you're all right.
Just always go to Tom then. Andy,
Yeah, we got started on the hospital, you said we're waiting on some.
yeah, we're still waiting on.
I think we got hopefully next week.
Next week.
Get that
I will call the individual again
At this point, we've got 3 applications for the 3 positions, correct?
I believe so.
There's more, huh?
I think we got more though. I think we got more applications than we have positions. I think.
There's 3 open. Got 1,
Which is a re-up. He's a re-up.
2, still,
Right, the one is a re-up.
3.
That's a double. That's a duplicate. One behind it.
What are we doing?
Yep. Did Mike?
What am I doing? I got somebody else.
2.
I got 2.
That's a duplicate.
So we had that one come through today.
That was for the, that was hospital, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we got 3 applicants.
I think we've got 3
I think
and 3
there's 3
open
all.
positions, haven't we?
And we're still waiting on applications.
We don't have word from one of the sitting people
That's
yet.
what I understand.
Is that correct?
That's what I understand.
Yeah. I'm only counting 2.
Well, we had one just come through today.
This goes with that, doesn't it, does it not?
Yes.
Yep. So you've already got that there.
Yeah.
So you've only got 2 there.
Yeah.
But the one today was not a resignation.
That's what happened. There was
Another one.
got too high here.
There was.
Copied paper that was kind of dark colored.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Looks like it got faxed or something. It was
Yeah.
darker looking. And,
Yeah.
I mean, I know the individual.
So I'm good.
You're
I'm
good?
having around table.
Okay. All right. Now we're to you.
Angie was wanting to know if you guys were wanting to issue chamber bucks to the appointed board. She didn't think that you had done it last year, but you had in some years past, but it's never been a happens every year deal.
We didn't do it last year.
She didn't think so.
I think that needs to be,
The board,
I'm not too
appointed
sure
board.
yeah, I'm not too sure we had not checked that out.
But she said, I mean, employees were getting them, but there's just a question on if the board members were going to be getting them.
Well, I mean, those are boards that people get nothing for being on.
Nothing.
It's a nice gesture.
I would be in favor of it.
I was in favor of that.
Okay.
My biggest thing was, you hand out $5,000 worth of chamber bucks. How does the and they're good for 5 years. How does the chamber do that? Is that money out of their account that they have to hold out until all those checks, until all those $25 vouchers get used in 5 years?
I think she pulled that out of one of our accounts. They're just called chamber bucks. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't know on that.
Can't you just make those chamber bucks good for a year or 6 months?
They're 5 years on the.
Yeah, they say 5 years on them.
We ought to be able to have the right to change that.
Well, my thinking is, how do you know? I mean, if you send out 5,000, only 2,500 is getting used. Well, why send any out? You know what I mean? That's
I like gift cards. I think they bank on you losing them.
yeah, exactly. It don't
I
matter
found
to me.
some in my desk the other day. They're 3 years old.
It doesn't matter to me. If y'all want to go to the appointed boards, we can tell them to go to the appointed board with them. I do know the zoning and planning's meeting this Wednesday, so.
I think it'd be appropriate. I mean,
Okay.
I'm sitting on the board free gratis. And,
I agree.
I mean, this shows a little appreciation, I think.
Right.
Okay.
So I guess to answer that question, yes. Fire away.
That's all she had.
That it? I handed y'all the paperwork from Clarence Fry for the Legion. If you guys would like him to come in and give a presentation next Monday, I can get with him and see if he can come down and give a presentation. I don't know the total dollar amount of the project. I'm assuming it's in the hundreds of thousands, 100,000, 120, I don't know. I'm just guessing, but,
I think there'd be some value of having him come in.
okay. I will,
Looks like it's a nice location, the tribute to our veterans in Lebo. And I know on the Veterans Honor Flight, it's hard to imagine how many veterans from the Lebo area that's participated in the Honor Flight.
This has to do with the request for the grant.
yeah, they've come through economic development. It could be pulled out of, community improvement reserve.
The only thing is all the other towns around did it on a local level, and donations from the local community and everything.
I mean, I think Lebo's the only one without a veterans park of the other cities.
And the other cities all did it, but they didn't do it through the county, is my point.
I don't have no idea.
I
would
don't-
assume not, but I don't know.
Anyway,
And I don't know, I do know that they'll be happy with anything. But I will get with Clarence and, have him come in. What you got openings for next week?
I'd say they were like 40 years old, showing public page.
well, I'm sure it is, but my point is that they pay through contributions and through their own endeavors to put up their facilities.
Leroy, 90%, it's all put up by brick. They got concrete out front and they got names on the blocks in front of it.
That's what we
River
do.
City.
It's all,
Should be getting shorter.
I think the labor's all over.
Yeah, and that's what we do.
Don't think it costs very much to,
All right.
material.
Nobody else has anything? We will adjourn at 1:14.
Yeah.
Till next Monday.
Oh my.